Well, happy to speak with you all tonight. My name's Chanel Dokun. I am a life planner, relationship expert. Basically, I spend most of my time helping women get clarity on their life purpose. So that's what I do. That looks a lot of different ways. A lot of times I work with women one-on-one. I do a 2-day intensive with them where they create their big life plan. And then outside of that, I work with groups of women. We do a group coaching program and community called Women of Consequence. And so that's where I live. And so when Tommy asked me to come and participate in this, I was so excited because I thought, man, like, these are my girls, like these are my women that I love speaking to, particularly as a Black woman, a mom. I have a 5-year-old, and I'm married to a psychiatrist, which basically means we're real busy and real unavailable a lot of the time because we're in sessions with clients. So the juggle is real, and I'm going through it too. Um, I feel like, I'm not alone. Certainly you all aren't alone. Many of you have probably seen, like, it's looking bleak out there. I mean, not to be like dramatic about it, but it is kind of a dramatic moment. There was the study from McKinsey and Company. They talked about how they partnered with Lean In. They talked about how 1 in 4 women are basically leaving the workforce, right? Because there's just so much that's happening, especially in light of COVID. We're not able to hold on to our jobs, and also we're having to manage our households. And so women are being pulled back into kind of these domestic roles that, no shade in doing that. That's great if it can be your choice, but nobody wants to be pushed into a role that they maybe have struggled for many years to try to establish themselves in another space. And so we're at a really critical moment where I think women in particular, and I would say Black women in particular, women of color, are struggling with how do I protect and carve out time for myself with all the demands that are out there in culture. I was thinking a lot about, kind of in prep for tonight, one of the women that's in our community, she's a mom. She has this, we started working together originally because she was trying to figure out, how do I balance my career? Before she was married, she had this really dynamic career in a creative space, creative industry. She was doing well, got married, has now had 2 children, and has 2 little ones. They're both under the age of 5. And so already before COVID hit, she was sitting there wondering, how do I actually just make time for myself? Like, how do I figure out this balance between investing in my family, accepting that maybe now is just not the season for me to do all the things that I want to do? How much time can I devote to building up my career, and how much time do I need to give to my husband and my kids? And then COVID. And so then that question became even more extreme, because her husband has the corporate job. He was the primary breadwinner. Doesn't mean he was more passionate about his job, right? But she was really struggling with, okay, he's got to do his job, and now I also have to create this home environment that allows us both to work remotely in some form while taking care of our kids. And so she was dealing with a lot of guilt. And one of the first things that we did was figure out, how do we just get you some time, which is what we're talking about tonight, and the practical reality of her life. How could she ask for help? How could she do many of the things that Donna shared, because she felt very uncomfortable? That mom guilt is real, right? It's not fair. I think of myself last. And so what we talked about was a lot of self-care stuff. And I think, we all talk about self-care as necessary. We like to give lip service to how important it is. I need my mani-pedi or whatever it is. And we kind of talk about that culturally as an acceptable thing. What I find as a life planner is that most women don't do it. And I think the reason they don't do it isn't because they don't like the idea of self-care, but I think it's because so much of the way that of what we believe is actually structured to keep us from taking the time that we need for ourselves. So in my breakout group, I would love to talk about the specifics of your life, what's going on with you and your unique circumstances. So we'll dig into practical practices. But I thought for this larger group, I wanted to share some of the postures that I kind of encourage my clients to lean into that are a little bit higher than the individual practices. Like, it's not just about like, can you develop a yoga practice, right? Can you like wake up and do the thing, you know, like all those things are good and helpful, but you have to believe certain things and you have to buy into some larger postures of life that will help you to actually, when rubber, you know, kind of meets the road, say, it's worth it for me to do this because here's how it's serving me on a larger scale. So there's 5 of them. I'll tell you what they are. The first posture that I encourage women to dive into that helps them kind of protect their purpose, quite frankly, and hold on to their sense of self and identity, is to carve out or to lean into a posture of silence. And I think that honestly, the world is noisy. We are, many of us, isolated, but it feels like it's noisier than ever. And that's because culture is speaking to us all the time, telling us to find our worth and our validation in things that are outside of ourselves. Women are told to kind of live from the outside in, right? So I'm defined by my relationships, you know, I'm defined as a mom, as a spouse, whatever it may be, partner. Um, by my friendships. I'm defined by the job that I have, maybe how much money is in my bank account or isn't, tells me what my worth is. My materialism, what do I own? What are the experiences that I'm having? But the problem is when all those things start to get stripped away, as we've seen in 2020, lost my job, not able to work the way that I wanted to, maybe got demoted or moved around, can't see my family, can't spend time with my friends the way that I wanted and get the relief. I have to figure out, who am I outside of what the world is telling me I am? And that's got to come from the inside out. So silence is the posture that we lean into that helps us hear our own voice first. And that has to be something that we protect in our world, particularly as moms. Because not only are we trying to define ourselves, but we're trying to define these little people and help them see who they are. So we need to be able to hear our own voice. The second posture that we lean into is leaning into rest. I mean, we're exhausted. I don't have to tell you that. You're tired. I'm tired. We should just stop this right now and all go take a nap, right? So like, that's what we need. But rest is more than just because we need a nap. Rest is, to me, an intentional subversive act because we're trying to tell ourselves that my worth is not just in my doing, that I'm not worthy, that I don't have validity in this world because of what I can do. I'm a human being, not a human doing. And so outside of any of my productivity or industriousness, hello, Black women who do it all and are like the superstars, we don't have to do that to be worthy, right? So we want to intentionally carve out spaces of rest to remind us that we don't have to believe that lie. The third thing that we want to lean into as a posture is to have a space for gratitude in your life. Now, this is me showing my colors a little bit, marriage and family therapist, so I'm always going to give you a little therapy thing. We know that people are struggling with anxiety to an extreme level. Postpartum anxiety is a very real thing. And just the anxiety of our time, the uncertainty and worry that we face. But we know that people cannot experience anxiety and gratitude at the same time. Yes, Snap Ministry, I love it. You can't experience anxiety and gratitude at the same time. Like, your body can't, they're two totally different messages. And so we want to intentionally lean into gratitude on a regular basis because it helps to send the signal to our body of, you're okay, you're fine. There are things to be celebrated here. It's good. And that takes your body out of that fight or flight response that a lot of us are operating on all the time, that also leads to the exhaustion too. So we want to do gratitude as a regular thing. We also want to lean into generosity. So that's the fourth posture, is generosity. And I love this one. It's not because I want you to be a better person and like give a little bit more, although that's nice. It's good to be generous. It's actually pretty self-serving. Because when we lean into generosity, it helps to tell us that we are okay, that I am living from an abundance mindset, right? That I have enough and I have so much that I'm able to give it away. It also tells you that I know that things are flowing to me, and so they can flow, they can flow on past me because more is coming. I don't know how you were all raised. I know my mom always told me that I wasn't allowed to get something new until I gave something away. If I wanted a new piece of clothing, you got to give it away. You want a new book, go give one away. And I love that she instilled that in me because it helped me to realize like, oh, everything I have has just come to me. I'm a recipient of it and I can pass it on because I can expect that more will come to me. And this helps us to feel like, one, I'm not the master of my universe. I'm not the one who's creating it all. I've received a lot, which relieves a lot of pressure to do, to create, because I can understand that things are going to happen and be brought to me that will surprise me. So I love the posture of generosity for that reason. And then the very last one is my favorite one, which I don't do very well. This is the posture of play, right? So we take ourselves so seriously. And especially when I work with women, we're trying to figure out their life purpose. I mean, these are weighty conversations. This is life direction. I'm sitting with them in these sacred, terrified moments, and they want to come to that conversation really serious. But we don't actually like work into our purpose, right? We actually play into it. We figure it out from a posture of curiosity and creativity. And that's where all the good stuff starts to come out. And as moms, when you're wanting to reclaim your time, like some of this is actually giving yourself space just to like have joy and play just for the sake of doing something that's just fun and that just fuels you and energizes you for what's next. So on a practical level, and I think Donna's kind of started to mention this, but I have a practice that just to make it a little bit more tangible for you. So, the 5 big ones are we have silence, rest, generosity, gratitude, and play. One practice that I think every woman needs to adhere to is the idea of what I call reclaim the morning. And it's waking up about 30 minutes or so early. And I'm not a morning person. So I say this with all humility of it is hard as I don't know what to do. But nothing in my life has borne as much fruit as getting up early to have time in silence, to spend time to do 2 to 3 pages of journaling, stream of consciousness, just to dump out all the stuff that's in my mind. It's the place where I hear my own voice, where I'm able to confront what do I care about? What am I worried about? Who's the woman that I'm becoming? What are the needs of my family? I don't let the world define me. I define myself first. And it's also a space for you to start to do all those other fun things where you are able to protect time to play, protect time to actually write down what you're grateful for, talk about or think about in that time, how can I be generous? And so it's a really simple practice in terms of the structure of it. But what happens in that time is really crazy. One of the women in our Women of Consequence community yesterday, we were on a call and she said, Chanel, we did a challenge. We did a 21-day challenge for them to do Reclaim the Morning. And she was like, I know this sounds crazy, but reclaiming the morning didn't just change my mornings. It changed my whole life. It changed my sleep cycle. I tell them not to drink coffee before we reclaim the morning because coffee gets you a little too jittery for the quiet space that you need. And so she's like, it's changed how I enjoy coffee because now I actually intentionally drink it and enjoy it later in the day. She does it around lunchtime. But she's like, this has just opened me up to parts of myself that I didn't know would be there. So I hugely recommend that. And when my group will talk a little bit about how you can make that happen, as well as just some of the other time management things that can help you work out some practical solutions in your life. But reclaim the morning.